Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 49 of Local to Global. Now, of course, this episode, we're going to change a few things. We're going to completely revamp the storylines. Obviously, we're starting off with the new year, so it's kind of fitting that we're going to have new storylines anyway. But what I've done is I've written down our storylines here. Can't really see them probably, but we've got 8 storylines going forward for the next, I would say the next 2 to 3 months. I kind of want to have maybe a bit longer duration storylines instead of like the usual 1 to 2 months. So I think before we get into anything, we need to change a few things. Now, the easy ones that I can do, obviously we have the GOAT's Redemption. So that was kind of just like an impromptu storyline for Logan and Davis. So in this one, we're just going to remove Logan. This storyline itself is actually going to continue. However, we're going to give Davis a new competitor to begin his comeback, and that is going to be Mighty Kavanaugh. We're actually going to do something with him. Potentially, we're going to try and give him a couple of wins. I know I said I was essentially going to bury him, although, as you can see, I can't really bury him if he's got big morale issues. He'll be almost inclined to leave the company if his sort of morale doesn't start to turn around. Because once they get to big morale issues, if you don't sort of rectify that within like a week or two, it can tend to lead to them, exiting the company or requesting to leave. And in this case, with him on a pay-per-appearance deal, it's highly likely that he will decide to leave if that's not brought back down. So that'll be the beginning of it. This one might only last 1 month because it is sort of the redemption storyline. And what I want to do is focus on maybe different competitors for Davis to beat in order to get himself back into contention over the course of maybe the next 3 to 4 months. Obviously, his last loss, he did lose to Logan at the final chapter pay-per-view. So that was pretty interesting. Anyway, this one here, Unified World Title, we're going to be running with the exact same storyline. Obviously, the 93 rated main event was very good with that, Unified World Title match between Aldous and Mobster. But everything else, because we also need to have 2 storylines with 50 heat. So obviously this one's at 92, and then GOAT's Redemption is at 72. So we'll keep those, and then we'll readjust everything else. I think I might keep Faith No More, but obviously we will rename that one as well. Just because it's at a 77, which is already pretty high considering. The push for Canada, I mean, we could probably leave this one as well, but we are going to have a new opponent for Gary Walker. So I think what we'll do, we'll remove everybody else that's not going to be involved, which is Lucinda, Jack Pride, Cuba Christie, and Yuta Asono. And then what we'll do is we're just going to add in the opponent, which is going to be Zombie Boy, which we'd also have to remove from another storyline. We can actually just end this one, the Rebirth of Forces of Darkness, because, I mean, no one was really kind of used. I mean, all this is in a separate storyline to begin with. So, yeah. So it's going to be Zombie Boy. Of course, he's kind of, I guess, a bit of a resident mid-carder, and he's not probably going to go anywhere else, up into the upper mid-card, or definitely not into the main event, purely for the fact that he's that scatterbrain, and we basically have to call his matches in the ring. So those 3 can stay the same. The Formation of Wall Street, that one can end. Let me go to Faith No More. And basically we're taking out Charlie Corner, we're taking out Hawking, we're taking out both members of the Rock City Stars there as well. And then we're going to add in, well, we have to also, oh no, we're good. We ended that one already. And of course, I've talked about it a little bit. We are going to have Angry Gilmore taking on Maddie Faith. And of course, the reasoning behind that is Angry Gilmore has actually offered to put over Maddie Faith. We have 2 matches or 30 days. So as you can see, the next pay-per-view, everything changes. Will be next episode in 26 days. Got plenty of time. And I think we should be able to get a good month, at least a good month storyline out of this one. We could potentially have 2 months and maybe do a bit of a maybe 50-50 type booking, although it's not going to be 50-50, but where we have sort of Angry Gilmore chasing Maddie Faith after this month. I think we might go with something like that just to maybe get a little bit of popularity back for Angry Gilmore himself. But everything else, yeah, again, with that one, I'm not really too sure what exactly I'm going to do with Charlie Corner, because I kind of want to put Charlie in there. But at the same time, I feel like we're probably going to do an Angry Gilmore match against Charlie Corner, and that will have the potential, and we've kind of been talking about it on the recent episodes, to bring that storyline heat down, thus preventing, the heat of the storyline being hot when we obviously need it, which will be the pay-per-view. Anyway, let's rename this one. Let's just call it Gilmore Passing the Torch. I mean, that's... Oh, spelled torch wrong. I also didn't put D. But yeah, Gilmore Passing the Torch. That one's... I feel like it's with him actually offering to put him over. It is kind of a bit of a passing of the torch. And they both do have pretty good entertainment skills. So it could be, I guess, in part, seen as pretty similar. Now, I'm a little bit interested with this storyline. I think we'll keep this one in. It's not actually going to be a proper storyline, but we'll keep it there. But I guess for the next one, we'll go the let's go Coalition tag titles. And I know I put double T there. Lovely. So this one's going to be the Rock City Stars. They're going to be the #1 contenders, obviously taking on Jackpot Jordan and Stevie Parker, of course, the Moneymakers. I think we'll be able to book this one pretty easy. Of course, again, it's still kind of dealing with the same sort of storyline. We've had that triple threat storyline going on for quite some time. And of course, Moneymakers won the title. They then defended in I guess a normal tag match against Young and Wasted. And now, once again, we're going to have the Rock City Stars come back into the title picture after they kind of fell to the wayside a bit, but they were still involved in that Matt Hocking, Maddie Faith angle. All right, so up next, this is going to be a big storyline. Let me just end this one here as well. So I think everything else there is pretty good. Coalition, yep. I mean, I'm keeping that tag division one just because, but yeah, everything there is pretty good. The next one is going to be, I like this one. We're going to have, this is actually probably one of the storylines I'm looking forward to most. So Monster versus Mutant. And this one is going to be James Diaz taking on, obviously, Mutant. But this is going to be an interesting storyline because what it's going to do, we go into James Diaz's profile a little bit more in detail. As you can see, he's the son of Raymond Diaz, who is the Monster. That was his dad's nickname. And as you can see, he's being dubbed as the Return of the Monster by a Japanese journalist. But what I want to do is basically turn him into the monster that his father was as well. Of course, he is 6'6", 290 pounds. He's a muscular heavyweight. He's a big boy. I've also got a new render for him, which I think, like a new picture for him, which is a bit more fitting to, I guess, his size and also this potential sort of monster gimmick that we're going to be giving him as well. So I like that. It's going to be the start of that sort of transition from, I guess, hot up-and-coming talent into a dominant, destructive, muscular heavyweight. And again, it kind of does fit in with his, his father, and I guess the prestige behind his father's sort of gimmick as well. So I like that. And yeah, it's two big boys going at it. Obviously, obviously Mutant is a bit lower on the popularity, but I think these two, they're going to have some really good matches going back and forth. And potentially, there might be some draws thrown in there as well. Because, in theory, they're both massive. And I would assume, apart from popularity, there's not a lot sort of separating them in the ring as well, which I've sort of noticed. So I think That one's going to be pretty good. And I really just like the whole storytelling aspect of this one as well. Okay. Sorry, I said that the next big storyline was going to be this one, but let's have... I'm going to go with the emergence of Logan Wolfsbane. And this is basically going to be the storyline that is going to kick off Logan's, I guess, intentions of winning the Unified World title, which is the title that he never actually won when he was previously with the company as well. So he'll be taking on Ozzie Goldstein. Massive storyline. Again, if this one's booked properly and this storyline gets hot, there's a good chance that it could rate in the 90s, in my opinion. They both have really good popularity. I'll show you some popularity. I didn't go over it, I don't think, in the last episode. We've got some new popular people in the company, that's for sure. Anyway, what else have we got? All right, so the last storyline, this one's a little bit thrown together, but it's going to be Hocking and Brody versus Price and Greed. Now, depending on what happens, if we get a negative chemistry for Price and Greed, I might, sort of get rid of this storyline. But if they have, neutral chemistry together, like just they're normal, I'm thinking I might make these two a tag team and put them in the tag division as well. Obviously, Price alludes to maybe like a price tag. Obviously, Greed still alludes to money. I'm not sure if we could potentially add Princeton Price into Wall Street Enterprises, which might make a little bit of sense, but these two could be a tag team as well. And I feel like that's kind of the way that we should maybe book them, because Greed doesn't really have anything to do apart from his, previous storyline with Giant Brody. So this one's interesting. And again, it gives Matt Hocking something to do while Maddie Faith is going to be embroiled with Angry Gilmore. And I kind of like it. It gives us another sort of opportunity to use all these guys, because we didn't use a few people on that last pay-per-view. Guys like Goldstein, Princeton Price. I think there are a few more, but they're kind of the main two that we didn't really use. And it was because we were going to use them on the pre-show anyway, but we unfortunately couldn't because we had to get a new referee. And we do have Quincy Jargon coming in as well. And I'm pretty sure we are the favorites. Yeah, we're the only one who's seriously considering, because CZCW did come in with an offer as well. Let me show you some quick popularity. We're up to 81 here for Aldous Blackfriar. Only gained the 1 point, but he was in a losing effort in the last month. We then have Davis, who I believe dropped down a little bit, down to, so he went from 85 down to 84, which isn't terrible, but again, he is in a kind of redemption storyline now, so he did suffer, 3 big pay-per-view losses in a row. So it's kind of understandable for him. We then have Giant Brody, who's now up to 60 popularity in Ontario. As you can see, that's 8 points. 8 points of popularity up from December, which is massive. Who else have we got? Let's go to Logan. Massive improvement here. 85 popularity now. And as you can see, he came in for 87. So despite the sort of unimpressive semi-main event against Davis in that last episode, he's actually gained 7 points. Pretty much as a result of those angles and main events in the last episode. Very interesting. We then have Maddie Faith, who gained a little bit, but nothing too significant. 3 points, which is actually pretty good considering from November to December, he didn't actually gain any popularity. So positive for him, and again, a massive storyline and potentially some massive victories as well upcoming for Maddie Faith. We then have the 87 popularity here from Mobstar, our current Unified World Champion, up 2 points, which is perfect. So, Aldous gained 1 point in the month. Mobstar gained 2. I feel like that's a pretty good trade-off. And again, we're going to continue to run with that And I guess we'll try and boost up Aldous a little bit more and try and get him up to about 85 as well. I think that'd be a pretty good point. Again, I'm not sure if I should take the title off Mobstar. He's held it for a little while now. Hasn't made too many defenses, but yeah, he's only had two defenses. But again, we're not a very high defense type of company. Our highest ever is 6 with both Americana and Davis. So, I mean, getting to like 3 or 4, I would consider to be a relatively good achievement. But Aldous is very good. He's very, very good. And I'm just not sure who I want to be the next champion. If it's going to be Aldous, if it's going to be Logan, if it's going to be Davis again, potentially. I mean, they're kind of the big 3 at the moment. And, I mean, you have to say, Goldstein's kind of in there as well as one of our top-level main eventers. But, yeah. So the rest of the popularity, I mean, I don't think there was anyone else, really. We didn't really use Goldstein. And everyone else is kind of about the same, really. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it as far as the popularity goes. Our size, we did go up to 79 popularity in Ontario, but we're getting quite a few lack of growth in certain areas, especially in the US, which kind of feeling like we should launch our own broadcaster with an internet. I think internet commercial would be the best, and we're going to need to either go big in Canada or the US, and I think at the moment it doesn't make any sense for us to go big in the US, because if you look at this, if we go to size, to go to big size, we only need to get 77 popularity in 5 regions in Canada. So we only need the 5 regions. If we can go up to big in Canada for our own broadcaster, we're still going to have medium-sized pay-per-view. I believe we can still be on them as well for our TV shows, despite having our own broadcaster. So that's kind of perfect. And then in the US, we'll have both on-dem and the U-Demand pay-per-view contract as well. So it's pretty good. It's looking good. And I think that's kind of the next step. I'm not sure if I want to do it right now. It's pretty expensive, as you can see. It's going to cost essentially half of our money that we have right now. So it scares me a little bit. Just a tad. But another thing in the future that I might think about doing with our own broadcast, because you can obviously upgrade, is to go to India and Japan and get small in both those regions. Because obviously on them, we've sort of gone over this a few times, but as you can see, it is tiny in Japan, as you can see there, and it's also tiny in India as well. So if we can boost those ones up a little bit more, we could also potentially, grow our popularity in those regions a little bit faster, and get it to maybe catch up with the other regions. Anyway, I've just talked for about 18 minutes. We've finally got the storylines. Well, they at least appear to be in better order. And of course, we still do have those 2 storylines that we require as our company. But yeah, I have to say the storylines that stand out the most to me, definitely Maddie Faith, Angry Gilmore. I personally, maybe you guys will like it as well, but the whole Diaz emerging into the monster. Obviously him taking on Mutant as well. It's the two massive heavyweights going at it. I really like that. I guess that, I don't know what you would call it, the interpretation of 2 massive guys with decent talent going at it as well. Anyway, we got Quincy Jargon. Okay, their offer is now being seriously considered as well. Looks like they really don't want to lose him, so we're gonna have to go in a bit a bit harder and a bit higher. We'll try 30. Yeah, and there we go. We're already back in top position, so that's perfect. Okay, we should be ready for the TV show. So we're gonna start this first TV show off with a Fatal 4-Way main event. got a couple incidents. We've got Blue Dragon lifting the locker room, organizing a video game tournament and winning it. And then we also have, I guess, wrestlers court there for Gabriela Ortega. Apparently made a mess backstage, which annoyed everybody else, but she does get a small positive impact from Angry Gilmore there as well. It's nice to see. Anyway, this is something we kind of do need to sort out. Of course, Davis and Mindsy Kavanaugh, because they are going into a storyline. And they don't like each other. And it definitely backfired one of those previous times that we tried to change that. I feel like I need to take a sip of water here as well. My voice is a little bit rough, let's just say that. Alright, so let's kick things off with that Fatal 4-Way #1 Contenders match for the Unified World title. I guess in theory, we may as well just go with, I guess, Davis, Aldous, Logan, and Ozzie Goldstein. I feel like that's a high quality match. That really is. And then obviously, I mean, Aldous has to win it. Because he's going to continue in that storyline with Mobstar, so that's nice and easy. I think I want the loser to be Goldstein. And, really? Alright, we're going to have to keep... That's unfortunate, because I really wanted to see what this match would actually get, but we're going to have to keep Logan strong. Because he does have, you know, more popularity than anyone else in the match, and pretty much over a lot of regions as well. So that's unfortunate. Still, it'll rate pretty highly. I expect 85 would be really nice. Alright, I think what I want to do to kick off the Diaz storyline is to have Diaz take on... I'm not really too sure who he can actually take on, because I don't want to put him against someone that doesn't have a lot of popularity. It would almost make sense to have Diaz versus... I mean, I guess I could maybe go Kavanaugh. Let's go Kavanaugh. We'll just give it 12 minutes, and then what we'll do is we'll have Kavanaugh win. It'll be tainted with an outside interference finish on Diaz by a mutant. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it. So I feel like it'll be okay. And that's obviously going to kick off the Monster versus Mutant storyline. Obviously, the main event, Goldstein's going to lose, but it's going to be as a result of Logan's sort of, I guess, interference in the match, even though he's actually in the match. But basically what will happen is Logan will... Let's say Logan hits Ozzie with a finisher, goes to pin him. Aldous comes in, breaks up the pinfall, hits Logan with a finisher, and then steals the 1-2-3. But he actually pins Goldstein instead of actually Logan, just to make sure that he wins. And I guess what we'll do after the match, we'll have a... Let me do a quick angle here. We'll have both these guys, I guess, going back and forth would probably be the best way of putting it. And that'll, of course, advance their storyline once again, the Unified World title. That'll go at the end of the show. Yeah. So what else have we got? We got the Rock City Stars. So I think the best way of doing this is to just, I guess, have a #1 Contenders match. I feel like I want to use the crew, but I also actually want to improve the crew. I guess we'll do it. So number 1 contenders match, the Crew taking on the Rock City Stars. Kind of a separate storyline, I guess. We'll give Ryan the victory. The loser can obviously be Public Enemy. But I think I'll give them an angle. So I think it's pretty important to make sure that we get their momentum up a little bit. Especially if they're going to be involved. I'm not sure if we'll actually do it, but they might be involved with Young and Wasted. And obviously Young and Wasted will probably be... Actually, I don't know. We might try and build the Crew up as the next contenders. Anyway. So I think the best way of doing another match to set up these storylines is to actually have Giant Brody taking on Princeton Price. And then we'll be pretty easily able to give Princeton the victory. And once again, maybe this time we'll just go a distraction onto. Let's go a decisive win. It doesn't need to be tainted. But we'll have a distraction at ringside on Brody by John Greed. Again, this whole storyline does continue their storyline that they've just been involved in. But I feel like it just makes it that little bit more interesting. Possibly linking up Princeton Price with John Greed as a price. Could go maybe the Price of Greed with the spelling of his last name there. I think that could be a pretty good tag team name. But again, we'll have them in a tag match on the next show, just to test their chemistry. And then I guess finally we could maybe go. I mean, we can just go a Fatal 4-Way match. Yeah, let's just go a Fatal 4-Way match for our Canadian Championship. So Charlie Corner can be involved. Just to get him on the card itself. Obviously, Zombie Boy is going to have to be in there as well. And then maybe Masked Patriot. Although, I don't really want Patriot to be losing. I want him to be like the head of our mid-card. Like the top talent mid-carder. I guess we can just throw in Marco Gonzalez. I mean, pretty fitting. We'll just give it 10 minutes there as well. I feel like we should call the match, but I think that this one we're just going to script it, even though he is that scatterbrain or whatever it's called. But I think just for this one we'll keep it there. I think that'll go second as well. Okay, so let's do some more angles. I want to go for a mutant angle. Actually, maybe let's have Mutant attack James Diaz. So let's do a fighting angle with Diaz on selling. I'm not sure if Diaz actually has good selling, but let's call this one Mutant attacking James Diaz post-match. Just a simple, post-match attack. Of course, he got involved in the match itself, costing Diaz the victory there. Obviously going to be some success there for Mutant. Did I do success in this one? No. So this one's going to be both success. Obviously, Mobstar's going to come out and approach Aldous. And Aldous would already have success despite, he's just won the number 1 contenders match. So I think that's pretty fitting. I also might let's give Logan angle pre-main event. Which I guess he can talk about Davis and maybe Ozzie Goldstein. They won't be on screen, but it'll be Logan talking about Davis and the victory that he had over him, and then it will also be him, I guess, saying that he's not really impressed with Ozzie Goldstein. Of course, Logan he's a heel for us, so he's not exactly gonna talk about the other heel in this match, which is Aldous, and the two faces would. I know Davis was a heel for a long time, but with this sort of resurgence, it's kind of a bit more face-like. Not 100% face, but I would say Ozzie Goldstein is definitely a face in our company at the moment. Anyway, I mean, with that being said, let's go Gary. And Gary's gonna have an angle where he says that he basically he just wants a new challenge or a new challenger. Of course, he's beaten Cooper Christie a couple of times, the former champion. And Gary just wants a new challenger. He wants something fresh, someone fresh to beat, and to improve the prestige of the Canadian title. I don't think the Rock City Stars particularly need an angle. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go the crew here. So Papa Swole, Public Enemy. This one, we're going to give them success purely for the fact that I really want them to just get a little bit better in their storyline. Because they're at the moment, they're, I think, poor with their storyline. So they have sort of poor momentum. So I want to try and build them back up because they're going to be pretty involved with everything that's going to go on with the actual crew stable very soon. We also need to move this angle down to Diaz post-match, which is good. And then I guess we can kick things off with John Greed and Princeton Price. And we'll just have an angle with them together. And it will be John Greed proclaims to have Princeton Price's back. Going into his match. Versus Brody. Alright. I guess Giant Brody would probably be off screen then, because they're kind of talking about him. And that, of course, is going to advance this storyline, which is literally a very simple storyline, but hopefully pretty effective. Anyway. Who are we not using? We're not using Matt Hocking, Maddie Faith, Angry Gilmore, those types of guys. So I think we'll just chuck them into a storyline. So let's not a storyline, a pre-show match. So let's have Hocking and Gilmore team up against Maddie Faith and John Greed, I guess, would be a decent little pre-show match. And let's actually give Hocking the victory. Greed can lose. So actually, it should be a pretty good match. I know I gave it 12 minutes. I'll reduce that. And of course, it can also be called in the ring. So 10 minutes there on the pre-show. And then we'll chuck in, I guess we'll chuck in a frat pack match as well. Let's actually have Mars Patriot team up with Graham Gorman and Zeus. Maybe a Mobstar. We'll go Mobstar because they're gonna get their team's gonna get the win anyway. And of course, he's already got an angle on the show. They'll take on Jackson, Cooper, and Zach Powerson. How is Powerson doing? I haven't actually looked at him in too much detail. Yeah, I mean, he's not growing as fast as I would like him to. He is 26 years old, so it might be a fair bit slower. But if we can't get that psychology up, we're going to be struggling. We're going to be struggling for sure. Anyway, there we go. Get that one booked in there as well. Assuming that's Stones, yes. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's run the first show. Okay, well, we start off with a 76 rated 6-man tag on the pre-show with Mars Patriot, Graham Gorman, and Mobstar defeating the Frat Pack in 12:15 when Mobstar pinned Jack Jackson with a flattener DDT. Obviously, Mobstar head and shoulders above everybody else, and Zach the weak link, but he got a 41 in ring, so that's not terrible. We then move into our second pre-show match, getting a 71 here, where we have Angry Gilmore and Matt Hocking defeating Matty Faith and John Greed in 10-27, when Matt Hocking pinned John Greed with a Hock Shock, and we had John Greed being the weak link in this one as well. But yeah, Matty Faith, yeah, I mean, he's looking pretty good, 73. And we had John Greed really off his game. Probably the reason why he was the weak link in that scenario. Also, forgot to change the arena, but we've sold out the Ottawa Rams Stadium. First time I think I've ever done that, so there we go. Anyway, we kick the show off with a 61 rated angle, where we have John Greed proclaiming to have Princeton Price's back going into his match versus Giant Brody. Unfortunately, Princeton struggled going off script, but we have indeed advanced that storyline. Okay, it's a pretty good match. We get a 72 here, where we have Princeton Price pulling off a bit of an upset victory over Giant Brody in 12:09 by submission. And then during the match, we also had John Greed distract Giant Brody. So, again, kicking things off with the possible tag team for Price and Greed. And then we're still kind of continuing the same storyline with Giant Brody and, of course, John Greed as well. But as you can see, we got Giant Brody and Princeton Price having pretty good chemistry, lifting the match, and they both got a 66 in-ring performance there. All right, we then go into an 80 rated angle from Gary Walker, and of course he wants a new challenger to his Canadian title, and we have the fatal four-way match up next. Ooh, that's a stinker. We get a 40 rated match, which is the lowest we've had in a long time. A long, long time. We have Zombie Boy defeating Blue Dragon, Charlie Corner, and Marco Gonzalez in 9:55, when Zombie Boy pinned Blue Dragon with a flying double stomp. We had Blue Dragon off his game. We had Charlie Corner really off his game. And yeah, just overall, not a great match. Blue Dragon kind of stinking up the place. And Charlie wasn't much better either. Let's just say that. Let me just check the... Okay, so there we go. So we got a double penalty for the scatterbrain for Zombie Boy. Forgetting the script, and then not everyone was, following the script. Also some holding back, which, yeah, that's weird. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I guess they were all holding back in the match. All right, we then go into a 47, which is also not very good. Yeah, we have the crew. What frustrates me with these guys is I have to not script them. And as you can see, both Papa Swole and Public Enemy were both pretty bad without a script. But Papa Swole won't let me script his angles. So yeah, very frustrating considering how bad this actually was. I just gave it to them to get them some success for their storyline, but I guess it's kind of backfired because it's a lot lower than I thought it would be. We then go into the Coalition Tag Team title #1 Contenders match, getting a 67. So luckily the match is a lot better than it probably should have been. But we do have the Rock City Stars defeating the Crew in 12:28 when Rock and Ryan Turner pinned Public Enemy with a 6-string shooter. Obviously Public Enemy the weak link, but everyone else was pretty good. Pretty good. And I'm happy with a 67 for the tag match there. All right, we then go straight into a 71 rated singles match where we have Mighty Kavanaugh defeating the hot up-and-comer James Diaz in 12:10 by pinfall with a sit-out spinebuster following interference from Mutant. Yes. So Mutant costing Diaz the match. And, of course, the Monster versus Mutant storyline has begun. Luckily, we give Kavanaugh an easy victory. It is tainted, after all, but hopefully that'll at least improve his morale. Even just a fraction would be good. Maybe we can give him some more squash matches as well. That might be a decent little way to boost up his morale. But yeah, overall, pretty good match, to be fair. We also had an 81. Yeah, it's basically just the only penalties were the low morale and the lack of storyline. So pretty well booked. 81 there for Diaz, which is higher than he's been getting recently. So that's impressive. And then a 61. It's Kavanaugh. 61's probably the best we're ever going to get from him. So there we go. And then, of course, we go into a 69 rated angle where we have Mutant attacking James Diaz post-match. Of course, let's just imagine that Diaz, after losing the match, we have Kavanaugh leaving. Mutant still at ringside. Diaz gets back to his feet, looking, battered and bruised, holding his head, holding his neck, I guess, would be the proper sort of selling for a spine buster. But he's doing that, looking at Mutant, kind of a little confused. And then Mutant starts to walk away from the ringside area. Diaz sort of turns around to the crowd. And then we have Mutant run back in and basically beat Diaz down post-match. 69 is pretty good there. And I didn't actually check Diaz's selling, so I'm glad that kind of worked out for us. It could have backfired, but 69 is pretty good. All right, we then go into a 79 rated angle from Logan. Again, Logan doesn't have the best entertainment stats in the world. He does have, obviously, the pretty incredible in-ring stats, but yeah, I mean, he worked the crowd well without a script, so that's positive. And of course, he's talking about Davis and the fact that he beat him at the pay-per-view, continuing Davis's downward spiral. And then, of course, he talks that, he's not impressed with Goldstein, thinks Goldstein shouldn't even be in this Fatal 4-Way match. He says that, he didn't even have a match at the pay-per-view, didn't really do anything recently. And Logan's a little bit, confused as to why he's even in contention. He basically says that it should be a triple threat match for the number one contendership and not a Fatal 4-Way with just Davis, Aldous, and himself. Yeah, 79, pretty good. And the main event, not as good as I thought it would be. But again, we had to keep Logan strong. So it's obviously affected the match rating a bit. We get an 81, which is about sort of the expectation of a main event for us on the TV shows. And we do have Aldous Blackfriar defeating Davis Wayne Newton, Logan Wolfsbane, and Ozzie Goldstein in 20 minutes, 3 seconds, when Aldous pinned Ozzie Goldstein with a Batwing. Well, technically, he pins Ozzie Goldstein with Logan's finisher, and then obviously he sort of hit Logan. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could do that, or I could maybe go another way. Let's imagine that Goldstein, everyone is outside the ring except for Davis and Goldstein. So Goldstein gets the one-up onto Davis, again, sort of continuing his downward spiral. Goldstein hits the golden shower. Then we have Logan run in, and before Goldstein gets the pinfall, he throws Goldstein out of the ring, goes for the pin himself, gets the 2 count. Aldous breaks it up, and then Aldous hits the Batwing onto Wolfsbane, and then Goldstein comes back in the ring, and Aldous also hits him with a Batwing as well. Bit of a cluster, but hopefully that mental image would kind of be what would happen in this scenario. So Goldstein's going to obviously say that he was about to win the Fatal 4-Way match, become the number one contender, but obviously Logan was the one that sort of prevented him from doing that, prevented him from getting the 3 count. And then obviously they both got hit by a Batwing. And then we finished the show off with a nice 100 rated angle, this one coming from both Mobster and Aldous. As you can see, they both enjoyed having the freedom to go off script. And, Blackfriar worked the crowd well. But yeah, 100, both rated on entertainment. And basically, like I said, just a back and forth between the two. Mobster saying, you might have won this Fatal 4-Way match, but you already lost to me at the pay-per-view. And then Aldous says, I'm coming for your soul. That title is mine. I am the rightful holder. And darkness will be cast over the coalition. just a nice way for both of them to get really over. Hopefully they'll gain some popularity as well. Anyway, let's finish the show. We get an 83 for our overall show rating. Unfortunately, only increasing in 49 regions. So I believe that wouldn't include in Ontario. And of course, the 5 American and 1 Canadian regions that have a lack of viewers. But I think that was a pretty good TV show. At least, you know, kind of introducing all of our storylines. Of course, we've got 2 more TV shows for this episode, so I'm going to try and get through those pretty quick. But I think what I want to do, I mean, I'm kind of in the mood to potentially try, I would like to try Angry Gilmore versus Maddie Faith for this this main event. Anyway, we've got Public Enemy here who apparently needs to learn how to sell. That's from Logan Wolfsbane. And our viewing figures, we've got 486,000 viewers from Ondem. Having a quick look here at CWA. Brooke Tyler defeating Claire Winters, getting a 99. We've got Jared Johnson defeating Dante Dunn, getting a 91. The main event was pretty bad, considering they had a 99. But we do have the Mob defeating Mark Dubois and Mr. Impact. They got an overall show rating of 92. Fair play to them. Fair play. One thing I do want to check. Let's check CWA's popularity. Whoa. Okay, well, that's a lot of popularity. So I'm assuming what's happened to them is the same thing that's now just happened to us. And I'm assuming it is the Maritimes that is kind of lacking the viewership to gain popularity. Because all their other regions are about the same, except for Saskatchewan, but they're all looking pretty similar. So I'm going to assume that it's probably the Maritimes. Although, the Maritimes is actually pretty decent for us. Actually, looking at this, I think it might be Manitoba. I think it might be Manitoba. Because Manitoba was 60 in December. And it's still 60 now, so it very well could be Manitoba. I mean, it's got a medium potential fan base of 60%. I mean, I guess we're lucky that we do get the spillover into Manitoba as well, if that's the case. But that's going to make it really hard. I guess it does say Manitoba or Quebec. So I guess for Quebec, we can just get that straight away. Anyway. Alright, so let's just advance into the next show. Take another sip of water, my voice. Struggling. Alright, so what we need to do in this next show is to kick off, obviously, the Angry Gilmore, Maddie Faith storyline properly, which needs to be kicked off. And then I'm not really too sure what else to do. Maybe we have Hawking take on Greed. That could be what we do. Anyway, hopefully this is... Yeah, it's going to be Quincy. Perfect. Okay. About time. Oh, Malik Chamberlain. I wonder if he would come to us now. He actually would come back. Go figure. He's going on to an exclusive handshake deal. Interesting. Don't know why, but he's... I mean, PSW, it's IPW, isn't it? Oh, no, it's PSW. So PSW are basically screwing over XWA. and he's the XWA champion at the moment. I actually feel a bit sorry for XWA there. All right, let me take a quick look through the companies here as well, because I did want to buy a company. I would love to buy Black Maple. That's kind of the goal. But I think they're kind of at the point, because they've gone up to tiny size where they're actually like able to make money now, which is pretty frustrating. But anyway, doesn't matter too much, I guess. Obviously, GSW, 3 million in debt. We're not going to worry about that too much. I could go for L-Ring, but again, that's not really going to do much for us because they're based in Hawaii. I mean, could go for this one as well, but that's Western Australia. Don't really need it either. I kind of want like a mainland base, either Canada or US. Maybe Mexico as well. But I don't think there's any real Mexican companies. I mean, XWA, we could go for XWA. I mean, they don't have a lot of popularity, but that would be pretty cool. Although it does have realistic type matches. I mean, we can always just buy our own developmental territory, but I kind of feel like it'd be a little bit cooler buying another company. But we won't worry about that too much. Anyway. Part of me wants to just buy the broadcaster. Sorry, I know I'm going very silent. I'm actually just reading through what's actually happening here, but we could go for big, like, internet subscription. I think what I want to do is just go for commercial. I think commercial is probably the smartest thing to go with. How much would very big be? That's 7 million. I mean, if we go big, we can always upgrade it. Let's just go big. I'm going to do it. Launching our own broadcaster. I didn't think that this episode was going to take this turn, but I guess it's probably in the title of the video and you guys probably realized what was coming, but we're going to do it. Half of our money gone right there. I think I want to rename it something else, though. Maybe the Coalition Network. And I guess, can we go for our logo? We probably can't. Assuming that's not actually in there. Yeah, no. I guess we'll just use no picture for now. But there we go. Big in Canada, so... Alright, there we go. So we actually need to add it in. But yeah, we're down to 5.4 million. I literally just talked about getting to over 10 million in the last episode. And yeah, now we don't actually have it. So I have to go into the broadcasting here. And we're going to have to actually set up our deals for... Where is it? Oh, there it is. Coalition. I almost couldn't see it. I was starting to worry. But yeah, new deal for Coalition Wrestling, obviously. We do go in the primetime slot, which is really cool. And we don't have any minimum quality expected. We get all the revenue as well. Obviously going to be unlimited. There we go. And then we also need to negotiate our events, our pay-per-views in there as well. I'm wondering if that actually has any downside to it. And what I mean by that is I wonder if it affects pay-per-view sales by having it released on your own network. I'm assuming it doesn't. Or at least I kind of hope that it doesn't. Anyway, I guess we'll find out. Anyway, let's jump onto our first show on our actual own broadcaster. Looking forward to it. I feel like we should go for a really big main event, but I don't really know what to do for that main event. I'm kind of thinking maybe we could do... I wanted to have Mobstar maybe versing... We could do a tag match. We could have Mobstar team up with James Diaz to take on Aldous and Mutant. I feel like that could be a pretty good main event. But then at the same time, it's like, who do I make lose in that match? It's either going to be Diaz or it's going to be Mutant. And I mean, Mutant, he's already suffered a loss to Mobstar in his own right. But I feel like that would be a pretty solid tag team. I mean, we could even go... I don't know, we probably couldn't go... I was going to say a steel cage match, but... Actually, I think we can do steel cage matches. So I guess maybe we will. Maybe we will go steel cage. I think steel cage is the only type of match we can have for Ondam. I might be mistaken, but I think steel cage is the only one we can do. Obviously, on pay-per-view, we can do other things now that we actually have pay-per-view broadcasters, but we got Joanne Rodriguez. I mean, interesting. But she's only a personality. Yeah, no, I think we're good. We don't need Joanne Rodriguez. Would have been interesting. Oh, Dante Dunn. Oh, Dante could be an interesting one. Very interesting, of course. He's with CWA. The Barbadian Barbarian. I mean, we're going to go with an offer anyway, so we'll see what happens, I guess. I mean, they're actually giving him a pretty big signing bonus as well. He already says that he has a better offer. Let me go... How old is he? 32? Let's go 8 years. And he want 53,200. Alright, so I'm just going to put that offer in. I know he said it'll be one of two offers that he accepts, but I don't 100% need him. I think it would just be nice to take him away from CWA, just because. Alright, so we have no Kavanaugh tonight, but that's fine. I've got RM Stones entertaining the locker room by organising a poker tournament. And then we got some wrestler court here. So yeah, Rock and Ryan Turner being an hour late, picking up his assigned travel partner. And now we have a small positive impact there for Rock and Ryan Turner as well. Perfect. Unfortunately, I don't think we can do any meddling because Kavanaugh's not here. Yeah, no meddling. Okay. Let's set the show up to be in Brampton. Of course, we usually do Brampton, but we obviously missed out because I didn't, properly check exactly what I was supposed to be doing in that first episode. Anyway, let's try and book this steel cage match. Cage Modern. And of course, it's actually going to be a Disciples of Darkness team that we finally, we created these before. And they will actually team up for I think the first official time. We can go back and check that real quick. All right, so this match will go for 20 minutes. think I want Ed Monton to be the road agent. I think for pretty much all our main events, Monton makes a little bit more sense, but I'm just not sure who I want to lose the match. One. I think I maybe want Diaz to lose. And I think what we're going to go with is basically having Diaz become the monster. Like, he's going to take a few losses, but in order to regain his momentum and to truly, break into the main event, he's going to need to become a bit of a monster like his father. We might actually try and bring his dad in if he's not, exclusively written anywhere. And maybe have him just come in and be maybe the manager for his son. Could be pretty cool. Something we kind of thought about doing previously, but yeah. Anyway, we'll make it decisive. Obviously, Aldous has a lot of popularity on Diaz as it sort of stands. So there we go. That's a solid main event for our first ever show on our own broadcast on the Coalition Network. Anyway, all right, what else are we doing? So we need to have Angry Gilmore and Maddie Faith. 10 minutes, nice and easy. And we're going to have Maddie Faith get the victory. We don't actually have to keep Gilmore strong, which is a massive positive, but it's going to be a tainted victory. We'll have an interference on Gilmore by, you guessed it, Charlie Corner. Actually, I guess we'll have manager interference finish. Yeah, so that'll work out pretty well. And that'll actually kick off their proper storyline together. And we'll have some interesting stuff to talk about with that. I think up next, I want to go with... let's have Davis take on Harper Swole. And again, this is kind of like the crew versus Davis, although it is only going to be Kavanaugh at the pay-per-view. So we'll script that, I think we have to. But Davis will get a nice victory there. Quincy can do his first bit of refereeing in the company. We then want to have a bit of a tune-up match as well for our current tag team champions. So let's have them take on Los Hermanos 3. Just a nice, easy tune-up match. And we can do an angle after it, potentially, with the Rock City Stars. I think we'll also make that the storytelling match as well. Also, obviously, non-title. What else have we got? All right, so I said I wanted to do Hocking taking on Greed. So let's do that one. We might actually give this... I kind of want to give it 20 minutes, if I'm being honest. I won't, because I want to do some more matches on the card, but it could be 20 minutes. It could, if we really wanted to. Anyway, so Hocking taking on John Greed. And this one will be a victory for John Greed. So let's have another outside interference finish, but this time we have Price coming in with the assist to John Greed. So another tainted win. Outside interference finish onto Matt Hocking by Princeton Price. All right, nice and easy. And then this, obviously, it's all leading towards the pay-per-view, and we're going to have the tag match at the pay-per-view. I think that's a good way of going about it. Okay, so... I mean, I guess we can do angles, so let's go for... I think let's just go for Mobstar and Diaz. In the hope that we'll get a little bit of popularity rub off there for Diaz as well. They're not in a storyline, so it doesn't really matter. Actually, you know what? Let's put both Aldous and Mutant off screen, because obviously they are the people that Mobstar and Diaz are going to be talking about together. So that actually does advance the storyline and make things a little bit more sort of blended together, our new storylines. So I actually like that. I like that a lot. That'll go before. We then want... I mean, I guess we can just go for both Angry Gilmore and Maddie Faith, and it will just be like another back and forth between the two prior to their match. I guess it'll be like a war of words. Let's actually write that in. War of words with Maddie Faith and Angry Gilmore. And again, that'll advance their storyline. Of course, Gilmore passing the torch. Of course, also leading into their actual match. It's going to be interesting, that one. I feel like that one's really going to be interesting. Anyway, up next we'll go the Rock City Stars. If I can find them. Rock and Ryan Turner, Stan Manor. They'll be cutting their... Actually, I think I want them to have maybe like a backstage interview about Jackpot and Stevie P. So I guess they can be interviewed by Jurian. Basically, this will just get Jurian into another angle because we actually need to build up his popularity, especially, you know, at the moment. At the moment, we don't really have any sort of popularity for him, so he's kind of dragging the angles down a little bit. And this is going to be the Coalition Tag Title storyline. There we go. That'll go before the Moneymakers match. I guess nice and easy. We'll just have a Davis angle by himself. Doesn't really need Zeus to be involved in any way, shape, or form. So nice and easy, nice and simple. And then again, I think let's go for a Giant Brody angle onto John Greed. Not too sure about Brody's actual entertainment stats, but I'm assuming they're going to be good enough. Let me take a look at that, though. So, Giant Brody. Yeah, they're good enough. They're good enough. About the same as what, like, Logan Wolfsbane has. Even though Logan has a lot more popularity. Speaking of Logan, we're going to give him a match. We'll give him a match against... It needs to be someone relatively good. Maybe Graham Gorman. Because we're literally not doing anything with Graham. Actually, let's go Masked Patriot instead. See what these two guys can do for 12 minutes. And what we're going to do, we're going to take Lee Bambino off color commentary. And Ozzie Goldstein is going to jump on the commentary booth for this one. So that'll be pretty cool. Logan's obviously going to get the win. And we'll have some other interesting stuff happen. So it'll be decisive. So let's go like that. Oh, we're way over our time. Let me cut that angle out. And then I'll make that one go first. Work the crowd. Going into that match. I like that a little bit better. I really wanted to get that match in. Just to, I want to see how good Logan can be against Masked Patriot. Because they're both super talented in the ring. Anyway, just for a quick pre-show match, we'll just go an 8-man tag. Let's go Goldstein, Brody, Gorman, and I guess Zeus. Yeah, we'll use Zeusy Boy. Chuck him against Osono. Jack Pride. Go Chip Martin in there as well. And finally, yeah, Bowden Snoop. I might actually do another tag team match as well. So yeah, we'll go for Goldstein. Get his momentum back after that loss on the last show. And then I'll do one more quick tag match. We'll have the Northern Lights take on... Actually, they can take on Young and Wasted. And obviously, we'll give Young and Wasted the victory here. Just not ready to push the Northern Lights just yet. But it'll come. It'll come. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Let's run the show. Alright, we start off with a 69 rated pre-show match. Young and Wasted defeating the Northern Lights in 12:07 when Taylor Norton pinned Riddick Jordan with a tumbleweed splash. A really good match there, actually. I'm quite surprised that the Northern Lights are actually pulling off a match that good. Very impressive. We then go into a 66 rated match where we have Ozzie Goldstein, Giant Brody, Graham Gorman, and Zeus Maximilian defeating Yuta Rosono, Jack Pride, Chip Martin, and Bowden Snoop in 11:55 when Ozzie Goldstein pinned Bowden Snoop with a golden shower. Jack Pride's got a gimmick that is getting stale. I'll try and remember that, but I probably won't because I'm not really using Jack. Anyway, we then kick off the show with a 73 rated opening contest. We have John Greed defeating Matt Hocking in 12:01 by pinfall with a crash diet following interference from Princeton Price. And yeah, they're going to have a tag match on the next show, so we'll finally get to see if they have any chemistry. But I like this storyline so far. So far, so good. 73 rated match, pretty good. I'm assuming the next match will be better, hopefully. We also have Hocking getting better at his gimmick, which is another positive. Okay, there we go. We get a 78 rated match for this one. We have Logan Wolfsbane defeating Mars Patriot in 11:45 by pinfall with a belly-to-belly suplex. Of course, at the announcing desk, Ozzy was obviously pretty weak, but he's not an announcer, so it doesn't really make sense for him to, I guess, be strong in any way. And the match also deserved better color commentary as well. So that's pretty funny. But it's a solid match overall. We've got 89 in-ring there for Logan and a 70 for Mars Patriot. All right, we then go into a 94 rated angle for the GOAT himself, Davis Wayne Newton. Basically, he proclaims that, tonight is the start of the comeback tour for Davis Wayne Newton. And he says that he's going to re-emerge, going to resurge, it's going to take back what he lost in the Unified World title. And he's going to get back to being his best. Going to try and prove to all the fans that he deserves to, once again, be their Unified World Champion. And yeah, obviously enjoying the freedom off script and getting a very solid 94. All right, we then go into a 76 rated match. We have Davis Wayne Newton defeating Papa Swole in 12:29 by submission with an STF. Just a great match. 90 in-ring there for Davis. And a 54 there for Papa Swole. Not too bad. All right, we then go into a 58 rated angle where we have a bit of I guess it's a weird sort of interview angle. It is pre-recorded, but we have Jurian sitting in the middle. We then have Rock City Stars to the left of him, and we have the Moneymakers to the right of him. And he basically just goes back and forth between the two teams, essentially asking them, a series of different questions, like, basically, do the Moneymakers see Rock City Stars as, a decent level of competitor? They kind of say no, they don't. They've said they've beaten them before. They beat them in the triple threat. They basically became the tag team champions because of the Rock City Stars. So kind of a lot of disrespect there from the Moneymakers, but at the same time, let's just say it was back and forth. Rock City Stars were, kind of throwing some shade onto the Moneymakers as well. But yeah, very positive. We've got Jurian working the crowd well without a script to follow. And a 58 is pretty good considering his pop is very, very low. All right, we then go into the Moneymakers. Of course, like I said, it was pre-taped, the interview angle. They go into their match getting a 69, but we do have the Moneymakers defeating Los Hermanos 3 in 11:31 when Jackpot Jordan pinned Marco Gonzalez with a Make It Rain. Yeah, it's good stuff. Really good stuff. Jackpot with a 72. Got Stevie P with a 61, of course. I'm pretty sure he is in time decline. So, yeah, declining physical ability there for Stevie P. Unfortunate, but, it is what it is. All right, we then go into a 99 rated angle from Angry Gilmore and Maddie Faith. They are both rated on entertainment skills. So this is going to be huge. Huge for Maddie Faith. Wow. Both working well without a script, and they just basically, it says it right there. War of words with Angry Gilmore and Maddie Faith. And it's also leading into their first ever match together as well. But a 99, I'm curious to see Maddie Faith's popularity after this show. Because we'll get into the match itself. Wow. 80 rated match. Bravo, lads, bravo. We got Maddie Faith defeating Angry Gilmore in 10:19 by pinfall with a leap of faith after Charlie Corner interfered. So Charlie interfering in the match. It's a really good match. I can't really understand how this match got an 80. We had a 72 in-ring being the highest from Maddie Faith, a 65 from Angry Gilmore. 8 points higher than the highest in-ring. And then we also had penalties. We also had declining physical ability. And, Faith was penalized again for chemistry. For being overwhelmed. So I think we might have to take Charlie off now. Because this match could have been even higher. Because Angry Gilmore was obviously declining. But he was inconsistent as well. So could have been higher than an 80, which is crazy. And I'm actually pretty hyped about that. Because again, we're going to do the rematch at the pay-per-view. I like it a lot. All right, we then go into a 79 rated angle. Unfortunately, kind of sucks. But yeah, Diaz did not do well without a script to follow there. Unfortunate, really unfortunate. Bringing both storylines, well, one storyline down as the Unified World title. Losing heat, but I guess Monster vs. Mutant actually gained heat as well. Bit of a positive, but anyway, there we go. And the main event does very well. I mean, I'm happy with that. We're getting 84, which is 3 points higher than the last main event. I think this is actually going to be a really good show. Really good show. But we do have Disciples of Darkness 3. Of course, we have Aldous and Mutant. And they defeat Mobstar and Diaz in a cage match in 1935 when Aldous Blackfriar pinned James Diaz with a Batwing, and then Mutant was the weak link in the match. As you can see, the Unified World title still lost heat, even though it was an 84, but we got more heat there for Monster versus Mutant. So we need to try and boost that storyline back up because we've lost a little bit of heat on it. And if you want a repeat of the last match they had, it needs to be up there. But as you can see, we get an 86 overall show rating, which is very high. It's a really solid show. Obviously, the 290 plus rated angles. We had an 84, we had an 80, we had a 78, we had a 76, a 73. There were some really good matches. Actually, the lowest match we had on the card was a 69, and that was for our tag division. It was essentially a bit of a squash match. Not a squash match, but I mean, Los Hermanos 3, kind of like mid-card, lower mid-card talent, if you will. But as you can see, Increased our popularity in 51 regions. We have no Canada penalty now as well, because we have our own broadcaster with big coverage. Perfect. And we also gained popularity, or more popularity, in Ontario. So that's perfect. And everything's looking pretty good. Yeah, my voice is... It's not doing well. Not doing well. But I'm gonna push through it. I'm gonna get through this last show. Ooh, TCW going in for LA Star. I did actually want to sign these guys back in the day. Interesting, they're only going in for one of them. I find that very strange. I guess if there was ever a time for us to go in for someone, it would probably be right now. So I think we'll go in. I think we pretty much have to. All right, there we go. We've got the better offer at the moment. I guess. Well, you know what? We'll wait for we'll wait for that contract to the negotiations to finish before we try and decide, to go for LA Star 1. I'm hoping we have one on the shortlist. Apparently, Doc Hammond thinks Chip Martin is a star in the making, and the kid could make us some serious money in the future. Interesting. I mean, he's very good, man. I almost feel really bad that I haven't pushed Chip Martin. Yeah, I almost feel bad. But I guess, I mean, we should try and push him. I might actually make that a bit of a project. Try and give him some wins. And basically boost him up to the point of us actually getting him into the mid card so he can compete for the Canadian title. Anyway, we get a 0.92 TV rating, so 691,000 viewers with over 1 million viewers overall. So the TV rating actually comes from our broadcaster, because OnDam I think is subscription. So that 691,000 is purely from our broadcaster, which is very cool to see. So I'm assuming what that's going to do is basically give us a lot more... Yeah, you can see it there already. We've only done 2 shows, and we're up to over 300,000. And as you can see, we've only been making about 367,000 with just OnDam. So that's going to go up a lot higher, and it only costs us like... How much does it even cost? It costs us like nothing. Interesting. So actually, to increase to the next size, it's going to cost me 8 million. So what I should have done is just gone very big straight away, because that would have been cheaper. Okay, make a mental note, everybody. You're going to get a broadcaster, try and go with the biggest coverage you can possibly get, because that's a mistake right there that I've made for sure. It's going to cost over 8 million, and it could have cost us about 2 million, maybe 2.5 million. That's an oversight by me. That's a big oversight. That's really bad. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Anyway, nothing we can do about it now. Quickly check the size. Yeah. And I just want to... I mean, we're up to 40 in Alberta now. And I think Maritimes and British Columbia both went up. But we are still yet to go up in Manitoba. So I'm hoping, obviously, that problem looks like it's fixed now. So I'm assuming we will actually be able to go up. Or at least I hope so. And continue our progress up to big size, because ultimately the goal is to go to global. It is to go up to the biggest size. Oh, I've forgotten what it's called. Goes big, large, Titanic? Yeah, Titanic. There we go. And it was in the head somewhere. I just had to remember. Also, like I said, we have, well, I don't know if I've finished Val Pro, but at the moment, it's taking a back seat. I just, when I play it, I don't, not that I don't want to play it, it's that I want to be playing this series, you know, and recording these episodes so much more. I'm so heavily invested in this local to global that whenever I want to play TEW, this is all I want to play. I want to keep making the progress. I'm invested in our roster. I'm invested in, you know, the storylines that I've been coming up with. The progress is what does it. You know, we've seen the progress. Obviously, you guys kind of favor this series as well. I don't want to say it gets double the views, but some of these recent episodes of Local to Global have been getting like 140 to 160 views, which is massive. And then some of the Val Pro, they usually get about 60 and 100. So obviously there's, like I said, it's nearly double the amount of viewers. So obviously you guys kind of want to see this series that little bit more, which, like I said, I want to play it more. You guys want to see it more. Therefore, we're going to drop Val Pro. We might come back to it in the future, but I'm kind of just waiting at the moment for the Thunderverse to come out. I really want to play the Thunderverse. I've never played it. I never even looked at it on 2016. And what I've heard is it's just essentially a better version of the Seaverse, and more diverse. There's more companies, more workers, obviously a lot of history, and kind of the lacking spots of the Seaverse, the Thunderverse kind of makes up for that, I think. So, okay, what have we got here? LA Star, New York City, TCW, and L Ring. Okay, interesting. Okay, it looks like well, hopefully we're still in contention, but I mean, yeah, kind of unfortunate for both L Ring and in New York. They're not even going on a written contract. They're just going exclusive handshake for 23 months. Unfortunate for them, but we're going to go 17,000, and we'll kind of keep going up from there, really, because I want to lock these guys down. I did want to bring them in, but I was kind of happy with them staying at New York for a little while, because we brought in so much talent recently. We're kind of still bringing in more at the moment, as you can see. I think if we do bring in these guys, I won't go for Dante Dunn. I mean, what we've already essentially done is taken away. We've taken away the first offer that CWA made to Dante, so they would have had to have paid more. I was just looking there. Johnny Martin is actually Chip Martin's dad, but as you can see, he already extended, so that's unfortunate. We could bring in Glorious Gloria if we wanted to start a women's division. Now, again, we can actually go for women now, because like I said, Valpro, it's essentially stopping, but I'm not sure if I want to bring in women. I feel like we're kind of better off being a, you know, purely men's company, similar to like New Japan, even though New Japan now own Shimmer. I think they own Shimmer or something like that. Or at least the company that owns New Japan owns Shimmer as well. Okay, so let's just get into it. I don't want to add the team yet. Let me advance. Let's get into it. I mean, Taylor Quinzel would be a great women's signing if we were going to do it. Once again, let's go Kavanaugh. Let's go Davis. And let's try and get them. That's so bad. That is so bad. Oh, backfired. They now have a hatred of each other. All right, there we go. Anyway, we're going to go to Mississauga for this show. And yeah, that's a tough one. Anyway, I think what we'll do, let's give we need a squash match. So let's go Jay Silver and Mighty Kavanaugh. I'll book the main event in a second. Does he get a bonus for squash? Got a troublesome knee. But he doesn't actually get a bonus from squash, so we won't make it an official squash match, if you will. We'll keep it open, but obviously Kavanaugh will get the victory. I don't think Jay Silver can call a match either. Definitely not. Okay. All right, let's book the main event. Now, I don't really know what I'm doing. I mean, part of me thinks we could maybe go for an Aldous versus James Diaz match. Let's do it. We'll do it. But it'll be a tainted victory. It'll be tainted. So there we go. 20 minutes. Aldous is gonna win. He has to win. It'll be tainted. Obviously, Mutant's gonna come out and attack Diaz. I don't think it doesn't necessarily need to be the finish. But again, it's kind of just continuing with what's going on. And then we'll probably have I think we'll have like a 4-man fighting angle. Let's actually book that right now before I forget. Let's have Aldous and Mutant attacking with Diaz and Mobster. A little bit unfortunate because this is probably going to bring down that same storyline again. But it is what it is, so... I mean, we'll just advance that storyline. I'm not sure how it works. But I'm assuming it'll advance the storyline and make it lose heat anyway. Okay, so I think we want a Rock City Stars match in here as well. They can take on Red, White, and Blue. Again, just a bit of a tune-up match, getting them on the card. Similar to how the Moneymakers were involved on the last show. I think we can actually call this match as well. With Blue Dragon. That'll be storytelling. I did make that storytelling. No, I didn't. Okay. Alright, so we've got storytelling there. Let's have a tag match. Yeah. So let's just go a random. Let's actually have the Northern Lights take on John Greed and Princeton Price. And I guess this will essentially be their test. And again, it gets, you know, the Northern Lights onto the show as well. So that's beneficial. All right, what else do we need? I guess we could do something with... Well, I want to have a Maddie Faith angle. So maybe I should go with... We need to have Goldstein involved in something. I kind of need to have Goldstein lose. So I might go Angry Gilmore and Ozzie Goldstein. In a 10-minute match. And what we'll do is we'll have Logan get involved. I guess it would be Tainted. So let's go Tainted. And then let's go with, yeah, the involvement. Ozzie Goldstein by Logan. And of course it can be called. I don't know why I put scripted there, but anyway. That should be a good match. Again, all competitors taking on each other. I like it. I think overall that might be it for the show. I know we have 4 minutes on an angle there, but let's book the rest of the angles and we might add one more show. So I wanted to have Maddie Faith. I guess Charlie can be involved in the angle itself, but he won't actually speak. I guess, yeah. Well, Angry Gilmore can be involved as well, but off screen. No real need for him to be involved. Okay, so again, that's passing the torch. Yeah, perfect. All right. Actually, let's give Maddie Faith success there as well. All right, so that'll kick us off. Northern Lights. Let's have another angle. Let's have an angle with Giant Brody and Matt Hocking, actually. And let's have them forming up or teaming up together. So Giant Brody and Matt Hocking agree to team up at the pay-per-view to verse Price and Greed. There we go. Again, that's advancing their storyline as well. And we'll give them success. Man, I keep having to cough real bad. Anyway, so that'll go there. I think we'll give Kavanaugh something. Actually, let's have Davis cut onto Kavanaugh. That's actually a better way of doing it. I'd like to do it. I'd like to do it on screen, but I think we'll do it off screen again. And that'll advance the GOAT's redemption. That'll go before Kavanaugh's match there. Again, we could maybe also go with a... I mean... I think what I want to do is have just Mobstar cut an angle onto Aldous. Maybe just in like the middle of the show. Obviously, he'll be off screen. Actually, no, let's do another interview angle. So let's go Mobstar there, and then we'll go Jurian up here. Have no one on commentary, and then we'll have some success. So, hopefully this isn't going to affect the actual storyline itself. But there we go. So it's not going to bring the storyline down because I know it would probably be affected a little bit. But I think overall that's pretty good. Anyway, we can add one more match. So I think what I want to do is just have the Frat Pack appear on TV. They can actually verse maybe like a heel team. So let's go Logan. Let's go Maddie Faith. And let's go maybe Mutant. No, I won't go Mutant. We'll go someone else. Maybe a Sono. No, we'll go Gary Walker. That's a good way of getting Gary Walker in there. And of course, they'll take on the Frat Pack. So Cooper Christie, Zach Powerson, and Jack Jackson. There we go. We'll give it 12 minutes. So this will actually be our opening contest. And I want to give the victory, I think, to Maddie Faith. I think that's the best way of doing it. And of course, it does need to be scripted because of Zach. There we go. That actually looks like a pretty good show. 125 minutes exactly. We'll do a couple of quick pre-show stuff. Let's have the Golden Goats take on Disciples of Darkness. We'll go 5. on the pre-show, obviously, we'll give the victory to Davis. Again, trying to continue to build up his momentum. It is going to need to be called as well because of Scatterbug Brain over there. Yep, there we go. That's all good. I'm assuming that's Monton. Yeah, okay. I think that's it. I don't think we need any more pre-shows. Let's run the show. Whoa. We start off with a 79 rated pre-show match. I was not expecting that. I wasn't expecting that at all. Anyway, we have the Golden Goats defeating Disciples of Darkness 5 in 11:40 when Davis Wayne Newton submitted Original Sinner with an STF. And then Davis, obviously, head and shoulders above everybody else. And once again, we got Original Sinner still being the weak link. Pretty much on the entire roster, really. I don't see anyone that's worse than him, to be honest. But there we go. Great pre-show match. Alright, we then kick the actual show off with a 63 rated match where we have Logan Wolfsbane, Matty Faith, and Gary Walker defeating the Frat Pack in 11:45 when Matty Faith pinned Zach Powerson with a Faith Falls Eternal. Haven't seen that finisher from him, but I like it. Faith Falls Eternal. Sounds pretty cool. Logan head and shoulders by everybody else, and then Zach being the weak link. But yeah, not a great match. Not a great match. Okay, we really need to take the manager away from Matty Faith. I've got to remember to do that. I got a piece of paper. I'm actually going to write it down. So let's write Matty Faith manager. All right. And then I guess I'll also put down, was it Jack Pride gimmick? Okay. Now I'll actually remember, or at least if I look at the piece of paper next to me, I will remember. So there we go. Anyway, moving on to an 89 rated angle. And again, this is only Matty Faith being rated on entertainment skills. But this dude, this guy is going to be a main eventer after this storyline. I have a feeling he's going to be at least around 80 popularity by the end of this 2 months. As you can see, superb, working without a script. And again, he's talking about Angry Gilmore and the fact that he beat him last week. Basically kind of rubbing it in the face of Angry Gilmore a little bit. And of course, Charlie Corner's there, sort of giggling, having a little laugh at the fact that he was the interference that actually cost Gilmore the match. 89 though. Ridiculous. We're definitely checking him after this show. Alright, we then go into an 80 rated match. Of course, a match we've seen many times before on the series. Rematch of the ages. We have Angry Gilmore defeating Ozzie Goldstein in 9:53 by pinfall with an anger management following interference from Logan Wolfsbane. So Logan getting involved here, costing Goldstein the match, and Angry Gilmore getting a win back in his name, which is good because he's likely going to suffer another defeat against Matty Faith at the pay-per-view. So yeah, it's good. Get him a little bit, I guess, momentum back, even though it was tainted, I think. Was it tainted? I think actually it might have been decisive. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We move on to a 65 rated angle where we have Giant Brody and Matt Hocking agreeing to team up at the pay-per-view to verse Price and Greed. Of course, their tag team name, if we have no negative chemistry, will be The Price of Greed. I feel like it's just a really good tag team name for them. Really fitting. Alright, we then go into their match. I saw the green. I thought we might have had chemistry, but no. But we do get a 69 rated match here. Princeton Price and John Greed. The Price of Greed defeating the Northern Lights in 12:26 when Princeton submitted Alton Vicious. I really wish he would start to use his actual finishes, his pinfall finishes. Anyway, we got a 65 for Princeton, 62 there for John Greed, and a 48 and 49 for Riddick and Alton. So Pretty good stuff. Again, they're just getting better and better. Even taking all these pinfall losses, they're improving. Their in-ring performances are improving. All right, we then go into a 68. Luckily, I didn't actually, make this a storyline advancing type angle because I knew this was going to do badly. But we do have an interview angle with Jurian Vanderbroek and, of course, Mobstar. Basically, Jurian is talking to Mobstar about Aldous, kind of asking him if he thinks he has what it takes to beat him in a second match, at the next pay-per-view. He says that he was very impressed by Aldous, but basically, there's no way that darkness is going to fall on the Coalition. He's going to remain the Unified World Champion, and he says he's going to try and see out the rest of the year as the World Champion here in the Coalition. Good stuff. It's a 68, but as you can see, Jurian underperformed. However, he did a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd, and obviously, Mobstar did good, apparently. All right, we then go into tag team action, getting a 63 rating here, where we have the Rock City Stars defeating Red, White, and Blue in 12:25 when Rock and Ryan Turner pinned Blue Dragon with a 6-string shooter. 60 in-ring for both of the Rock City Stars there. It's just a good match. Just good overall. These guys are a little bit lower, so if there was better competitors, apart from Red, White, and Blue, this might have been a 69, similar to the tag team match on the last show. Okay, we then go into a 96 rated angle from Davis. He's actually doing quite well without his scripts. Again, I want him not to be scripted. But he was kind of failing a lot back in the day. Now he seems to be doing better. And of course, Davis cuts his angle onto Mighty Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh obviously not on the screen or involved in the angle. And it's a 96. And he says there's a lot of bad blood between him and Kavanaugh. They hate each other. They're not friends. They never will be. He kind of just alludes to pure hatred. He purely hates Mighty Kavanaugh. It's a good angle. They hate each other. It's evident. We've kind of caused that to happen, but it is what it is anyway. We then go into Kavanaugh's match, which gets a 57 rating. We have Mighty Kavanaugh defeating Jay Silver in 9:53 by pinfall with a sit-out spinebuster. So Kavanaugh winning. It's a pretty easy victory there for him, though. We got low morale. He's still not actually in time decline, Kavanaugh, which I find very weird, but I mean, we haven't booked him right, to be honest, and that was kind of the reason. And then he, of course, actually injured Davis, which is even more frustrating, but yeah. And now he's got big morale issues, so it's all going wrong with Kavanaugh. I still want to kind of bury him and get his popularity, because he's over 40 years old now, so we want to get that. Anyway, we move into the main event. Not very good. Oh no. Oh no. He's got a broken freaking neck. He's only 22 years old. I had big plans. Oh, man. That is so frustrating. I can't believe that. We get a 76 rated main event. However, James Diaz sustained a broken neck. Got Aldous Blackfriar defeating James Diaz in 20 minutes, 24 seconds by submission with a Gloomweaver clutch after interference from Mutant. 84 in-ring from Aldous and an 80 in-ring there from Diaz as well. Oh, man. That's so bad. Anyway, we got one more angle left. Why can't I advance? Oh, okay. He literally, we can't use him in the angle. Wow. Okay, well, let's just have a... I guess this is going to be a 2-on-1 then. The angle kind of doesn't make sense now. Anyway, yeah, let's just go selling for Mobstar, and we'll go fighting for both those guys. And again, this storyline won't be advanced, but I guess their storyline will be advanced. Anyway. Oh, that's terrible, man. That is absolutely terrible. Isn't he rated on selling? Oh, it doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter. Absolute catastrophe at the end of this episode. We get a 78 to finish the show with Disciples of Darkness, both Aldous and Mutant, attacking Mobstar as he comes out to make the save for Diaz, who evidently has a broken neck. And again, we lose some more heat, which is frustrating, but it is what it is. Anyway, we finish the show. We get an 81. The main event sucked, but it would have been a lot better had he not sustained that broken neck. So let's just say that right now. Anyway, I don't know. We increase in 50 regions, but I think that's without Ontario. So, yeah. Man. I cannot believe that. How did that just happen? Surely Aldous did not botch and break Diaz's neck. I'm hoping that it was just a freak accident. It has to be an accident. Oh, man. All right, viewing figures, we get a 0.93, so we're even higher, up to over 700,000 viewers now, 1.032 million. That's pretty good. Let's check this out, man. Oh, please, hopefully we can do surgery. No. God damn it. 1 year, 3 weeks. Over a year injury. And that might cripple him. That might, like, ruin his career. No surgery available either. Oh, let's have a look. Diaz. He's so good as well. He's really on the up and up. You know, into the 70s now for his psychology. I mean, luckily his resilience is still 93, which is pretty good. It kind of doesn't look like anything has actually been affected, so I guess maybe we'll find out over the coming months as to what happens to him. But there goes that storyline. One of my favorite storylines that I was looking forward to has now been taken away. I'm really frustrated at that. I know it's part of the game. It's an injury. But why does it have to be Diaz? Why couldn't it be like Sinner or someone like that? Let me take a look at backstage. So as you can see, I don't think it was a botch by Aldous. I think it was just a freak accident. I'm pretty sure it was just a freak accident. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're gonna have to, I guess, do something else or just cancel that storyline pretty much. Maybe do something with Mutant and Sinner. Maybe taking on the Northern Lights. That could be a little sort of mini feud, I guess. But yeah, there we go. Anyway, just quickly want to take a quick look at a few people. Just briefly, nothing too serious. Actually, we will go serious for Matty Faith. So he started off at 63 and he's now up to 67. So he's already gained 4 points this month in 3 shows. That's pretty crazy. Davis is back up to an 86 as well from an 84. So the redemption has begun, which is perfect. And Gilmore has lost popularity. Yeah, down from 80 to 79. But of course, we kind of expected that a little bit with Maddie Faith beating him, taking his popularity away from him. So perfectly fine. It's Angry Gilmore. We'll be able to get him back up there with his, solid angles each and every week. And he'll get a bit of redemption down the line as well, going into that second month. So, yeah, pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with the episode overall. Obviously, pretty historic episode as well, creating our own broadcaster. However, it's kind of overshadowed by the fact that Diaz has a broken neck and is going to be out for over a year. I guess I'll leave it at that. Anyways, guys, if you could smash the like button, smash a like for James Diaz. Sure, he'll appreciate it, seeing it in his hospital bed. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm just... It's terrible. It's terrible. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. We're still really close to the 10% of subscribers with notifications turned on. So make sure you do that as well. If you haven't already, just double check. Double check, see if you've got the notification bells switched on. If you do, you'll be notified when these episodes come out. And again, it is only going to be these episodes, I guess, kind of for the foreseeable future. Anyways, guys, apart from that, take it easy and goodbye. I'm going to go visit James Diaz in hospital.